Good morning, Arkansas. I'm Bella Bertancini.
And I'm Zoe Schloss. The latest controversy in integrating America's schools seems to derive from Arkansas Governor Faubus's unwillingness to oblige to the Supreme Court's latest ruling that declared segregation in public schools unconstitutional. The court mandated that all public schools integrate with deliberate speed in its decision related to the groundbreaking case Brown v. Board of Education in Topeka.
Following the decision, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People attempted to register black students in previously all-white schools in cities throughout the South. In Little Rock, the capital of Arkansas, the Little Rock School Board agreed to comply with the High Court's ruling. The superintendent of schools, Virgil Blossom, submitted a plan of gradual integration to the school board on May 24, 1955. The board unanimously approved his plan, which was to be implemented in the fall of 1957.
Good afternoon. I am here joined by Virgil Blossom, the superintendent of the schools here in Little Rock, to talk about the new proposed plan of gradual integration. So, Mr. Blossom, what were your initial thoughts when you created this plan of gradual integration?
Well, at first, I was very hesitant in submitting this plan because it was a risky move. I am fully aware of the level of segregation in the communities, let alone in the schools across the nation. The amount of violence and conflicts this will cause is enormous, and I know I took a very large risk in doing so.
Can you tell me first off what your plan of gradual integration is and what your intentions are of it in the schools?
The original plan was to start the integration in elementary schools, but as more and more elementary school parents spoke their opinions, the plan was altered to begin at Little Rock Central High School, and then to junior high school a few years later, and eventually into the elementary level by 1963 at the latest. I also included in the plan that any student whose race was a minority in their school could ask for a transfer. This allows flexibility for any minority student that feels uncomfortable with the new plan of integration in their schools.
Did any personal threats come to you with this creation of the plan?
Yes. Over the past few months, ever since I began developing my plan, I have received numerous death threats and have been screamed at by the citizens who oppose my plan. However, I did not and will not let this affect my work.
Did you have difficulties trying to implement the plan in the school systems?
After the Brown versus the Board of Education case, where the courts ruled in favor of integration, the Little Rock Board of Education released a statement saying it would comply with the court's decision once the court outlined the method and time frame for implementation. So they chose me to formulate the plan. When I first submitted the plan, they adopted it and named it the Blossom Plan. In order for me to start the integration in schools, I needed to ignore Governor Faubus's obvious opposition to the program. On September 4th, 1957, the first day of classes at Little Rock Central High, a white mob gathered in front of the school, and Governor Orville Faubus of Arkansas called in the State National Guard to bar the black students' entry into the school.
Breaking news, this just in. Unconfirmed reports tell that President Eisenhower has ordered a group of 9 African Americans known as the Little Rock Nine under escort from the U.S. Army's 101st Airborne Division into Central High, an all-white public school. These 9 students will be enrolled to attend the high school for the remainder of the school year.
Yesterday, as a mob of 1,000 whites gathered outside Central High School, the 9 black students managed to gain access through a side door. The mob became increasingly unruly when it learned the black students were inside, and the police had to evacuate them out of a fear of their safety.
Earlier this morning, Little Rock's mayor sent a telegram to the president asking him to send troops to maintain order and complete the integration process. Eisenhower is immediately federalizing the Arkansas National Guard and approved the deployment of U.S. troops to Little Rock.
This situation is only the beginning of Eisenhower's plan to comply with the Supreme Court's ruling to desegregate schools as quickly as possible.
These 9 students entered the all-white public high school today, September 24th. Several segregationist councils held protests earlier this morning while the children were escorted onto the property and into the school.
Many local citizens, faculty, and students from Central High have physically blocked nearly every entrance of the school, preventing the black students from entering.
The U.S. troops fought through using various physical forces to make way for the students to enter.
Casey Jensen reports live from Little Rock. Casey, what's going on over there?
Thanks, Zoe. Good morning. Crazy riots have broken out at Central High School when, as we heard before, President Eisenhower ordered 9 students to be escorted by Army forces into the school as part of his plan of gradual integration. The National Association for the Advancement of Colored People specially picked these students and were put through special training and counseling in order to be prepared for today. These kids are ready for the violence and racism today and for the rest of the year that might bring them here at Central High School. I'm here with Caroline Larissa, an English teacher here at Central High. So Caroline, how do you feel about Mr. President's plan of its gradual integration?
This isn't right. They can't just barge right in and suddenly integrate the schools. Things were perfectly fine the way they were before, and now this is just creating violence and conflict that didn't exist. This is the way it has been forever, so there is no point in changing it now.
What was your experience and initial thoughts when the police forces guarded and led the 9 black students into the school?
I believe that integration of black and whites is setting the school up for failure. If you look around, you can see the chaos it's causing, and this is only the first day. Imagine what it's going to be like when these black kids are in classes with white kids. Students won't be able to focus on their work, and violence is bound to happen. This integration is a distraction to everyone, including teachers. We can't control all this violence that is going to happen, and we can't constantly worry about the problems between white and blacks while in my classroom. I need my students to learn, not worry about this stupid integration. These white teenagers came to this school to work with other white teenagers, not the colored. This is hurting us more than helping.
But don't you think these kids deserve the same education as white kids in this town? They aren't integrating the whole African American population into Little Rock at the same time. The government is purposely slowly integrating these students to make it easier on people like you.
Yes, I think they do deserve the opportunity to get a good education, just like the white students, just not here. Unfortunately, having the kids come here is going to take away from their education, and they are going to be too focused on the hatred they are receiving rather than their education. They would be better off at their own school with their own color, getting a decent education. And yes, the government may only be integrating a few students at once, but there's no need for it at all. Everyone should just stay separate. It will be so much easier on both whites and black students. In the end, the kids are just going to leave her, basically setting them up for failure.
Okay, thank you so much for your time, Caroline. Now back to Bella and Zoe at the desk.
This is craziness. The protesters are out of control. Hopefully we'll have no injuries to report. Sources say the Little Rock 9 will return to Central High School tomorrow under a heavily armed guard.
Glad to see the government is finally taking control. I hope troops are able to keep the amount of verbal and physical abuse towards the 9 black students under control, and that those 9 students have a great year at Little Rock Central High. Can't wait to see what this change brings to the rest of the school systems all around the country.
That's it for today, Arkansas. Don't forget to tune in for tomorrow's interview with the governor, who will tell us more of his future plans for integration in other schools. Have a great rest of the day.